Hi there, welcome to today's daily Facebook Live. So today I thought it would be good to go back and look at the whole connection piece. We're in this time of what they're calling social isolation, but I think it's really important that we are more socially connected than we've ever been before. So as I've already said, I prefer physical distancing and for us to stay as socially connected as we can. Now, for some people, that's proving to be quite difficult, and certainly in this kind of lockdown time that we're in, for people that really rely on getting out and about, meeting people, going to different clubs, events, dog walking, meeting other dog walkers, that can be a really, really important part of people's daily self-help in terms of mental health. So we know that for good mental health, we need to be connected. We need to be, as human beings, we usually strive for connection and engagement. So at this particular time, it can be really quite difficult for many people. So today, I'm going to do part one of a two-part series on staying connected. So there's staying connected socially and staying connected with other people. And then there's also our own self-connection. So today we're going to look at the social connection, and tomorrow we'll look at that inner self-connection, looking at faith and whether that's spiritual faith, religious faith, and how we connect with that in times like this. So I've got Trish here already. Hi, Trish, lovely to have you here. I'm going to use your example of your family's weekend antics on Saturday in today's live. So I'm glad you're here. You can let me know if you're happy for me to share that. I was just going to do it anyway. So what I thought would be useful would be just to share some really simple ideas of how you can remain connected with other people in this time of physical distancing. So on Saturday, I set up a Zoom party for myself and some friends. So Zoom is a platform where you can invite different people. There's a free version. So there's two. I have the professional version. So I think I'm allowed 100 people. If you've got the free version, I think you're allowed 3, maybe even 4. And I think it only lasts for 40 minutes. It'll cut out at 40 minutes. But hey, it's free. And you can just go back and do another 40 minutes if you wanted to. So Zoom is a great platform for having like video conferencing, video meetups, virtual meetups in a video format. So it's very similar to Skype. So if you've used Skype in the past, it's similar kind of setup. I think it's a little bit simpler to use than, it's easier for me to use Zoom than it is to use Skype. You don't need to have a Skype account sorry, I'll start again. If you're using Skype, you need to have a Skype account, whereas with Zoom, you don't need to have a Zoom account to use it. So it's a bit faster and quicker and easier for those people that don't have Zoom accounts. So it's kind of similar to Skype. So when my mum was in hospital and they stopped allowing visitors in, I set up Zoom on her phone so that I could get the rest of the family in, and we could all do a Zoom call while she was in hospital, unable to have physical visitors. So I used that at the weekend with some friends. We had some music playing. We all came with a glass of wine, and it was really good fun. So that's one way that you can stay connected, and that kind of physical, real, in person, or as close to in person as you can possibly get. So using something like Skype or Zoom. Now, Trish, in fact, she hasn't said if I can use, if I have permission. I'm just going to go for it. And I see that Amna's here, and so is Angela. So on Saturday, Trish was sharing that she had played Zoom charades on Saturday. You're going to have to share with us, Trish, how exactly you did that, but you inspired my family to play charades out in the garden with a bonfire on, I think it was Sunday, Sunday night. So we had a bonfire on Sunday night and gathered around the fire and played charades, which was just such good fun. And we played, it was like pitch dark, we had all the candles on and the fire was going and the lanterns were up. So it was really, really such good fun. We had a really great night, but that was inspired by your Zoom charades that you said you've been playing on Saturday with your family. So I'm kind of just guessing that what Trish would have done would be to have set up the Zoom call, or somebody would have set up the Zoom call, and you would have a family round a device. So if you're using the free version, I think you get three, I think it might be four, but I think it's 3 people. You can invite 3 people to a Zoom call. So you could have 3 families. So you could have you and your family, somebody else and theirs, and then another section of your family. And what I want to say here as well is I know that this is not a one size fits all, because I know that we've got people, I think it was Amna, you shared in one of our lives last week that you're on your own. So there will be people like yourself. So your Zoom would be just for you and your dogs. And you can still have other family members connect in. So just know that I'm keeping this really quite general, and I know that everybody's situation is different. So you could have the Zoom charades. I'm guessing that each family would decide what they're going to act out, and they would act that out and on the camera, and the other 2 families would try and guess what the film, the movie, the song, etc. was. So that's a really good fun way to have that sense of party. That's what I felt on Saturday night when I set up the Zoom call that we had. It was just to engage, and we put music on, and it was just nice. And then on Sunday out in the garden, just to bring in that sense of fun. It's the Saturday night, and so just finding different ways to do that. So Zoom and Skype are 2 ways that you can do it with video conferencing. But if you've got an iPhone, and you guys all know this already, and I am not techie, so if there's any suggestions that you've got, please put them in the comments. I'm the least techie person possible. Everybody thinks I'm techie because I do lives and I teach online and I do webinars, but I'm not actually very techie. I've just learned what I need to know to do what I want to do. So for those of you that have iPhones, you'll know that you can FaceTime. But if you don't have an iPhone, you can do a messenger call. My mum's been doing messenger calls to us. So that's another way that you can connect in that visual way. And then there's something else that you can use your phone for, which is called WhatsApp. And I have to say that I don't actually know how to do this. My 10-year-old set it up, so it must be easy enough. But basically, in WhatsApp, you can invite different people into the call. Probably, I don't know with Messenger, again, because I'm not techie. I don't know if you can have more than one person on Messenger. I've always assumed Messenger was just one-to-one. But if you wanted to have a few people, then you can do what's kind of, I suppose, similar to Zoom, but on WhatsApp. So I think we had 4 of us on the WhatsApp call. Again, when we were checking in with my mum, and I got my older son who lives away from home, and my daughter who wasn't back home at that point. She was still away at uni and working. So we had 4 of us on that call. So that's another way that you can stay connected in that kind of more visual way. So some other ideas that I wanted to share with you, not that I profess to know about these, because I don't, and that I think there was one that I'm missing. Yes, it's called the House App Party. So House Party app. Should I say House Party app? So when I was doing my Zoom call with my friends on Saturday night, my daughter's friends, I just assumed that they were on like a WhatsApp call, because I think there was 8 of them or something. But I think it was the House Party app that she was using. So that allows 8 friends, I think it's up to 8 friends to come together. I think you can program in pop quizzes, so you can really have, like, you're kind of at the pub having a pub quiz. So it can be set up in that kind of way as well. So there's lots of tools out there for us to access, and even if you're not that techie, if my mum can answer a WhatsApp call and get herself on Zoom, admittedly not so easy for the first time she did it, but she can do that from a hospital bed where she's really not well and her brain's not functioning because it was a virus on the brain that she had. So her brain functionality is still in recovery process. So she can manage to do that. I'm sure most of you guys can manage that as well. So let me know what you lot are using and experimenting with to stay connected with friends and family. And if you've got any other ideas or suggestions, I would love for you to pop them in the comments, because I think it's I just think it's so important to our mental health and our sense of well-being that we find ways to remain connected in this very isolating or potentially isolating time. And I know that each person's household will be different. We've got people that are on their own. We've got people that are on their own because they live on their own. And then we've got people that are on their own because they're self-isolating. And then we've got families where there's no isolation per se, so there's lots of movement in the house and people can come together, they can be outside, have their bonfire, they can sit around television, watch a movie together. And then you've got families where they're in the house but there is isolation going on within the family unit. So everybody's situation is different. So it's just how we get creative. We've got some amazing tools and technology at our fingertips that we just didn't have 5 years ago. We didn't have the same capability of being connected, and it's so very, very important. And just talking to clients even today about the importance of just being able to get outside and connect and meet with other people. So that brings me on to the next point, which as of today, it's restrictive in how easy it is to go visit other people. We are already in that restrictive place, and that might get worse over time. So just the next piece that I'm going to share, just be mindful that this might change over time. So last night, my daughter and I drove through to my mum's town where she is, and we got her some bits of shopping and some little bits and bobs, and we left them at the door and chapped the door and kind of not quite ran away, but stepped back, and we had conversation. We were on the kind of path, and my mum's at the front door, and we had a conversation, not for too long because we didn't want her to catch cold because it was at night. But I know, again, Trish, I think you described having 2 drive-throughs on Saturday. So Trish had 2 different cars of family come at different points where they're chatting out the car window and she's hanging out the house window. So that's another way that you can be connected if you're not too far. And I absolutely know that we're, and I also respect that we're in a place of not undertaking any travel that isn't essential. For me, it is debatable, isn't it? One person's notion of what is essential and another person's can be quite different. But in the terms of coronavirus lockdown, going to visit my mum would be classed as essential. She's in a vulnerable group. So we would be able to do that. It might not be so easy to do that with other people, but it might be easier than you think. So I'm just inviting you to get creative, think out the box, and look at how many different ways you can create connection with people, either for your own well-being or for theirs. And then aside from that, just as a little last piece that I wanted to bring in, and again, I'm not clear on where the restrictions are with us at the moment, but I know that there have been lots of people, certainly where we are, that are putting cards through people's door, that are offering to go get shopping, and just doing their bit in their community. So if that's something that you are fit and well and able to do, then that's a way that you can connect with those in your community, whilst also carrying out an amazing and probably much needed act of service as well. So just get creative and think about what you can do either for yourself or for other people too. So that was all I really had to say. And let's see, we've got Richard. Lovely to have you here, Richard. Well, and Richard, you've just reminded me as well, because you're the music man. I know that I do usually go to Rock Choir. That's usually on once a week. I haven't been able to join any of their live sessions, online sessions, because obviously that's not going ahead. So they're doing live tutorials on YouTube, and then we all hook up through Zoom and we have a big sing-along. And I think there's I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that did the Military Wives, I think it was on BBC, but he got the Military Wives to record a single, whoever that person is. He's looking to do like the Great British Sing-Off. I heard that on the radio a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I'd meant to look it up, and now I've forgotten exactly what it was called, but something like the Great British Sing-Off, where they're going. I think that what their intention was to put out music and words, lyrics, and people would just record themselves at home and then send it in to him, and then he and his team were going to take all it could be hundreds, thousands, potentially millions of recordings and put them together to create a piece of music with everybody in the country contributing in some way. So I thought that was really exciting. So there's lots of great stuff. People that are creative have got really super creative. So let's see how creative you can get. Okay, Gareth Malone, that's it. I wouldn't have remembered his surname, but I remembered Gareth. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Yes. So you could probably just Google Gareth. So if you've got a good singing voice, and that's not something I'm blessed with, but if you've got a good singing voice, you might want to take part. And even if you haven't, take part anyway. I genuinely have not been blessed with a singing voice, but I go to Rock Choir because I like music, and I like singing, I like dancing, and even if everybody else covers their ears round about me, so be it. It's my fun place. So something like Rock Choir is meant to be fun. We're not looking for amazing singers. So whether you can sing or not, if you enjoy singing, I would encourage you to take part in something like the Gareth Malone I was going to say experiment, but it's not experiment. His thing, the thing that he's doing, the big sing-off. I would encourage you to take part in something like that. So that's me today, folks. As I say, if you're listening on the replay, or even if you're here live and you come up with some ideas and suggestions of different ways that we can create that kind of social connection with other people, then please share, because what you might do that's second nature to you and you don't give much thought to, it might be something really new and wowsy for somebody else that they can use with their family. So until tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll be looking at connection again, but we'll be looking at it more from connecting with ourselves and how we retain our own connection with self when everything round about us is quite uncertain and feeling a bit unstable. So until tomorrow, stay safe and have a super day. Bye.